Hello guys, welcome back. So today we are here with yet another episode of Toppers Talk series. Today we have Mr. Anuj Sharma as our special guest. Anuj has cleared RBI Grade B 22 with all India rank 24, and Anuj is already working with LIC as assistant administrative officer, and this was his third attempt. So first of all, thank you very much, Anuj, for taking your precious time and coming to this channel.
It's all right, Vikas, and I congratulate you as well on this career achievement of yours and all of our batchmates as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and same to you. So, Anuj, could you please brief our aspirants about your background and about your, any job if you have done in the past, and about your experience if you want to share anything?
Okay. So I graduated in BCom honors in economics in 2018 from Punjab University, and then I wrote banking and insurance exam the very next year in 2019. I cleared the LIC exam, and since December 2019, I have been working in LIC. Thereafter, I also gave RBI attempts, and 2022 was my third mains attempt, I would say.
Right.
And this time I cleared it. And in 2020, I started MCOM from distance course, and I'm expecting the results to be out anytime soon.
Okay, great. So, guys, Anuj, as in managing all the things together, he's already working in LIC and he has been preparing for RBI, and he has also been doing NCOM along with all this preparation and along with job. So, Anuj, the very basic question is, how do you manage to do all the things together? How do you find time for all this?
Well, when you go after some things, you got to have time. You got to spend some times, obviously, and I had to build my career profile as well. So thereafter, I started MCOM. I could have opted for MA Economics as well, but I found the subjects more interesting in Masters of Commerce. So yeah, it has been a tedious journey, but one has to do everything.
Yeah, very true. And if somebody is already working and he or she wants to prepare for RBI or any other exam for that matter, so what advice do you want to give to him or her so that how they could manage their time and manage all the things together?
See, Vikas, like you have also been working, like many other candidates who have cleared this year. So one thing there is paucity of there is the paucity of time. If we look at it, so you have to manage your priorities, not only your life priorities, but also the subjects that you are studying, the syllabus that you are trying to cover. You got to have priorities lined up, and obviously the exam is evolving year after year now. So we have
True.
to set priorities accordingly as the situation demands. So I think it comes down to prioritizing things. So I think every working aspirant's back of the mind knows this. So until they clear this exam, they don't know it, but like you have also experienced now, I think it is mainly about prioritizing things on the time.
Yeah, very much true. Anuj has said the very right thing, guys. If you really want to do it, then somehow you will find time for preparation and all other related things. So that fire has to be within you, and you have to manage it somehow. If you really want to do it, then guys, believe me, you will find time. And Anuj, for RBI Grade B preparation specifically, did you take any kind of coaching, or you did it with the self study only?
For the initial two attempts, I relied on self study. But since I was not having time, and I was seeing that some coaching institutes are really developing some good material, so I opted for one. Because see, the uh, the sources which we will use for self study and the sources which coaching institutes will prepare from for the material are pretty much the same. So
Right.
as I was working, as I was working, I did not have much time to go directly after those sources. So I opted for one coaching institute's material, and I relied completely on that. Apart from preparing my own self study notes. So yeah, I mean, I took the coaching from one coaching institute.
Okay, true. And Anuj, if somebody wants to prepare for this exam specifically, if, let us say from the scratch, what do you recommend? Like he or she should take coaching first, and second, is it really mandatory? Can anybody, like let us say from non-finance background, some engineer is there and he wants to do it. So is coaching mandatory for him or her?
Look, it all comes down to an individual perspective. So every individual is different, and his or her demands, his or her aptitude level and knowledge level might be different. So one has to know himself or herself very properly before delving into preparation, and whether they should look whether this exam is for them or not. And regarding the coaching is concerned, I think one should first explore the previous year questions, the syllabus, and get accustomed to it. If they find coaching is important, then please, go for it. If they can think that they can do on their own, so I think self study is the best way to prepare. But at the same time, one has to know, one, that self awareness should be there regarding the preparation thing.
Right. So guys, Anuj has shared very good advice. If you really want to prepare for RBI or for any other exam for that matter, first please do your homework. Like as Anuj said, just go through the previous year questions or just go through the syllabus, get well versed with the examination pattern and all other basic things. Then you have to take a decision about what is the next step. Should I take coaching or not? What should be my approach and all other strategy related things. So again, as Anuj said, just go through the basics of any examination or RBI grade B for that matter, and then as Anuj said, you can take your next option. So Anuj, how did you prepare for phase one current affairs or phase one GA specifically?
Okay, so as we know, like from the last 2 years, the GA portion has the difficulty of GA portion has escalated to many high levels now. So one has to integrate their mains preparation with the phase one GA preparation as well.
Right,
So I integrated both of these, and I relied on the coaching institute's material, the weekly current affairs from Affairs Cloud, and I repetitively revised because I have a very bad memory, so I need to read things n number of times to produce that on the examination day. And so I mean, yeah, these were the sources for me, and the constant revision is really important for phase one, because you really have like 20 minutes or I think 25 minutes to solve those 80 questions. You can't be able to solve all those questions, but the more you can recall, and that will come from repetitive revision only. So stick to some sources and revise repetitive.
right. And what do you think? Like guides should cover how much of the current affairs? How many months specifically? Let us say from the date of the prelims examination.
Well, the more you do, that is the better. But the common rule of thumb approach has been like 5-6 months for every candidate who has cleared it. There is no specific timeline because the difficulty has escalated to many levels now. But I think the safe side would be 7-8 months, not more than that. And on an average, you can go for 5-6 months. That will suffice.
True. And what was your approach in quantitative aptitude? Like, did you focus only on clearing the sectional cutoff, or any other strategy was there for you?
So I gave a lot of mocks for from Olive Board and Practice Mock, because sorry, because both of these institutes provide really good mocks and of differing difficulty nature. So I think that is very important, and how you analyze your quantitative aptitude and logical reasoning component in this is very important. So uh, you give mocks, and if you are preparing from scratch, just practice. Just practice a lot, and up to a certain level that you are comfortable for giving mock tests. So after you reach to a mock test level, then analyze the performance in your mock test, that how you are performing, the your strengths and weaknesses are. So analyze that, and if you find that there is some a deficiency in your approach, then work on that. So I think for me, I just gave mocks and analyzed that, and that was just for me.
Right, right. And if you could recall, how much specifically, like, what is the number of the mocks did you give for prelims?
Um, because I would say that I gave some 10-15 mocks for prelims, and yeah, 10-15.
Okay, on both the sites combined, Hollywood and practice mock as well, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. And did you also prepare specifically for English part in prelims?
No, I did not go for the English part because I have been giving prelims for the last two attempts as well. I just gave mocks, and if there was some ultra deficiency that I was thinking that my English component would be having, so I used to work on that. But yeah, I mean, one has to be careful in English as well, but focus more that you can build some good marks in English.
Okay. And any other particular newspaper do you recommend that aspirants should follow, or shouldn't they follow at
See,
all?
there are a lot of newspapers. There are a lot of newspapers, and personally telling, I find all the major financial dailies really helpful. The Mint, Financial Express, uh, Business Standard, all of these are very good, equally good on their part. I did not go for newspapers because I used to rely on the coaching material. The current For current affairs, I was heavily relying on the coaching material, and obviously the very amazing affairs cloud material as well. So personally, I did not go for newspaper, but I think for a good practice, for a good regular practice, the newspapers should be followed.
Okay, okay, great. So, guys, just to summarize the phase one or prelims preparation, Anuj has relied more on the mocks. Like he has practiced a lot for both the quantitative aptitude and reasoning as well, and he has given n number of mocks. So, just develop some basic understanding. Just get a basic understanding of all the related topics and all the chapters, and just attempt as many mocks as possible. Now, Anuj, coming to the phase two and for the ESI paper first, what was your strategy for that?
See, if I would like to start by giving, like a brief of how I performed in the last two attempts. So I was not having a clear idea of what the syllabus was. So I really needed to put some perspective into my ESI and FN preparation in the phase two, and I thoroughly went through the syllabus, and I personally made notes from the internet, like. That would be in the month of December or January. I made self notes from that, and in January or February, I purchased a major coaching institutes course, and then I relied on their notes as well. So I combined my and their notes, and for that matter, I also combined current affairs of all the 4 or 5 months. And for the government schemes, I used the schemes compilation by given by one of the coaching institutes, and because and obviously in the news there are many government schemes, so I used to keep a track of that as well from the sources which I mentioned earlier, and so I just combined it. And coming to the writing part, I gave some 5 or 6 mocks, for the for the descriptive component to the same coaching institute, and got them analyzed by the teachers. So yeah, so proper analysis of your descriptive component has to be there, because you don't know what you are writing until you get it analyzed by by an expert. So proper analysis of your answers is very important. And coming to the you know the objective portion, you have to practice the MCQs as well. Give mock test of that as well, and just keep a proper analysis of what you are doing.
Right. And apart from the coaching material, did you also follow any specific website, let us say PIB or RBI?
So for ESI, I did not follow RBI website. Neither did I follow PIB because see, I did not have much time to be honest. So I just relied on the material and the online sources which I just referred. So I just relied completely on them, because if I went for different sources, maybe I would not been able to revise properly. So
Right.
no, sir, I did not rely on PIB.
Okay. And like if you're talking about the descriptive part, like you must have faced some difficulty while starting writing, right? Because
Oh
like
yes,
this was the case with me, at least. When I
yes, sir.
used to
Mhm.
start writing by just basic things like what is inflation and all other basic definitions. So like how did you speed up this part? If somebody is preparing without coaching, let us say, and he or she wants to improve his descriptive writing, so what would you advise to him?
See, I was really freaked out by by the nature of how I performed in the last attempt. So I knew that first of all my typing speed was very slow, and the second thing, you know what you are answering in the objective questions, but when you put that into words in the descriptive answers, that becomes really difficult. At least for me, it was very difficult in the initial stages. So what I did was, I revised more, first of all, just to keep a track of the, the proper definitions of the reports that I have to mention, of the statistics that I have to mention. So after that, I used to practice. First of all, I brought some old keyboard from a repair shop, and I used to practice. I used to practice on that apart from my laptop keyboard. So doing that, I think it gave me some perspective that yes, some things are changing. Then I came on to the mock test just before the phase 2. 1 or 2 months before the phase 2, I started giving mock tests. Initially those answers were also very bad, but I think over the time, when you practice, you gain some perspective on how you can improve. So yes, over the time my typing speed also improved. And after that, when I got my answers checked, so it gave me proper analysis of how I need to perform in the actual exam. So the psychology what needs to be there in the while writing answers in the examination hall. So this was pretty much I did for the descriptive component.
Yeah, it is very much true, guys. If you do not have any external keyboard, please get it. And as Anuj said, if possible, please get a old one, because in the examination hall, just don't think, if you will get some brand new keyboard, it may happen or it may not happen. So just to be on the safer side, just get one.
It happened with many failures.
Yeah, very much
Hmm.
true. So just get
Hmm.
one old keyboard, and guys, just please start writing. Just start writing with basic things. Just start, typing with your notes. Try to make notes in the soft copy itself. So, these little steps will take you much far from rest of the candidates. Because this is, I think personally, this is one of the biggest mistakes that aspirants are making. They are not realizing the importance of the descriptive part itself. They are not writing. They are not writing by themselves, and believe me, guys, you are the real judge. By looking at your answer, you can identify what you have written. And as Anuj rightly
True.
said,
Hmm.
over the time, you will develop this habit and you will ace the descriptive part also. Thank you very much, Anuj,
True.
for this very much important advice. And now
Pleasure.
coming to the FM paper, what was your strategy for that?
Okay, so uh, first and foremost, RBI website, most important thing for FM part, economic survey, budget. So for that, I used to study one compilation from Vision IES. Uh, I used to
Right.
refer to the budget compilation and economic survey compilation from Vision IES website. And yeah, I mean the RBI website, you have to follow thoroughly, because there are many updates, many keywords coming in there from in the RBI website. And apart from that, I relied, as I told earlier, from the coaching material as well. That was really important for me to follow. And the descriptive strategy, the it was pretty much the same which I followed for the ESI portion. And coming to the management portion, I heavily relied on the notes which I prepared myself, and then I combined them with the coaching institute's notes. And obviously there are many keywords which are revolving around in management portion. You might be knowing that as well. And there are many
True.
similar connotations which come out from similar definitions. So you need to read more to have a bit better differentiation, so that you are able to choose the correct option in the MCQs as well. So this was for the management portion. Talking about the numerical portion of finance, see, one thing I will mention, that I come from BCom background, that's for sure. But that does not mean that we are very thorough with all the the questions which might appear in the RBI exam, because we need to study the same things again and again. Yes, there
Yeah.
we know some very basic things, but we need to revise as much as the people from engineering background or non-commerce fields have to do that. So we have to do the equal amount of effort. So I did that as well. And but at the back of the mind, I was praying that quantitative portion does not come in the finance section. So yes, because this was pretty much what I did for FM section.
Yeah. Anuj, let me take this opportunity. Anuj has clarified his position, very smartly about this finance, non-finance competition. Very much true. Very much true, I must say. And Anuj,
Yeah.
did you also refer any specific book for the management part, or you relied only on the coaching part?
No, as I said, what I did was I went through the syllabus. And for example, a leadership portion is mentioned. For example, types of management might be mentioned in that. So I googled those keywords, and whatever I could find relevant, to write a 500 or 600 word answer, I just prepared my own notes for that. And one thing I would like to mention, that when I was preparing my own self notes for that, and when I studied the coaching institute's material, they were pretty much the same. And I
Mm.
can also list down the sources that they mentioned, in their own notes. So my notes and their notes were pretty much the same on one level. But uh, yeah, I mean, repetitive learning is very important in management as well, because the topics are very interlinked. So yeah, this is what I did. But I did not refer to any one particular book. 90% of the sources were based on my you know uh, were based on the websites which I followed. uh, but one particular website I cannot recall right.
Yeah. So one important thing which can conclude from this FM strategy, guys, even if you're taking coaching from, let us say, any of the XYZ coaching institute, but still you have to do your homework. As Anuj said,
Yeah,
you cannot rely on any single source. You have to do your homework. You have to know your syllabus well. You have to know what is there in the syllabus, what we have to write, and you have to review it yourself first. Then, even if you're taking coaching, then only some coaching institute can help you. So just don't
yeah,
go with this notion that I'll join some coaching institute or I'll buy some course and everything will be done. That is not going to happen. You have to do it yourself.
true,
Just as Anuj said, just download the syllabus and use internet extensively first. Then you can think of other options. So Anuj,
true.
while we are discussing this budget and economic survey thing, many aspirants ask me also, like, do we have to go through the entire book of the economic survey, or just summary will be okay?
See, uh, for the economic survey and the budget thing, I would like to say that it is better that you go, reading the whole economic survey by yourself. But we all don't have time, even the freshers who are preparing for these exams, they might find the economic survey cumbersome at first. So uh, as you mentioned earlier, that you need to do your homework at first, take half of your day, take 3 4 hours maybe, just accentuate yourself whether you can read the economic survey from end to end, whether you have that time or stamina to do that. And see, I gave some 1 or 2 hours for this research. So I just came out that for me, the level of understanding that I have of economics, of finance, so for me, the Vision IAS compilation would suffice. I also went through some other coaching institutes compilations as well, but I found for myself the Vision IAS was more comfortable for me. So I've interacted with some other candidates who have cleared the exam. They went cover to cover from economic survey, and that's their understanding. So
Right.
again, I would say that it is an individual understanding of how you need to study. uh, take some 1 or 2 hours to research whether you can do it yourself or not. Otherwise, there's no harm in relying some coaching institutes material.
Okay. Very, very much clear. And now coming to this English part, what was your strategy for English?
So because for English, what I did was, last year I scored 68 or 69 in English, if I remember it correctly. So I was aware ki what I need to work on. First of all, you need to develop a good habit of reading long comprehensions and how you interpret that. Because as we have been seeing in the last 2 years of the English descriptive mains which has been coming, the paragraphs have been really difficult to interpret at first. So
True.
read newspapers, read long articles, so that you are able to interpret the right thing that the author is trying to say. uh, so this worked for comprehension. And apart from the comprehension, if we look at the Prezi, uh, you need to shrink the size of 800 900 word article into 140 or 150 words. You need to do that. So for that, you need to have a better understanding of what the author is trying to say. So for that, you need to develop some good reading habit only. And apart from that, the essay thing, see, from what I've experienced of the essay component, the RBI Services Board gives you 5 very different essays to write about. Okay, so if you have prepared thoroughly in the last 3 or 4 months, you will definitely have some material to write on either of the topics. That's very true. Uh, so, but this time around, the topics were really weird in nature, and I had to, think for 3 or 4 minutes before, choosing the one topic to write on. So, have a clear understanding, give a good brief, a very simple introduction. You need not, choose very fancy words in your essay, and you need not वो नहीं करने की आप स्टैंड आउट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो ऐसे में, है ना? So you definitely don't need that. Just convey your ideas, your thoughts in a very crisp manner. Give a good introduction, give a good body, give a good, headlining to that. Give some good examples. If possible, give some statistics as well. But the idea which you're trying to convey, it should be very clear. And all the three, essay, précis, and comprehension, you just need to get your answers checked by your, evaluators as well. Not only from yourself, but from the other point of view. You need to get that evaluation as well. So this is what I did for English, and I wrote some 3 or 4 mocks for English as well in the descriptive component.
Right, right. So guys, Anuj has, given very detailed strategy for English part, and just as Anuj also said, and I'd like to add this thing, especially, those guys who are weak in English, or let us say, who are from, let us say, non-English background, or, their schooling was in Hindi medium or something like that. Just do not fear the English part, especially for the RBI grade B. You have to be very much simple in your, let us say in your connotations or in your words. Just as Anuj said, just try to convey the idea. Just start with the basic things. You can choose very simple words, but at least examiners should understand what you are trying to write or what you are trying to say. So just do not fear this.
True.
As Anuj also said, just try to develop this habit of reading, writing. All these things will help you to ace this English part also. Now, coming to the most important part, Anuj, the interview of RBI Grade B. So, first of all, how was your
Right.
experience this year?
Okay, so my interview was in mid-September in Delhi. So before that, I was somewhat ill, but I had somewhat recovered as well before the interview. So when I went, since I am working in insurance, so I was expecting that I would be getting questions from insurance sector as well. My interview went on for some 12 or 13 minutes, and half of that was focused very much on LIC and the insurance sector as a whole. And so after LIC, they asked me questions on RBI, the departments which I would like to work in, the role of RBI in financial inclusion, and there were some other questions which I cannot recall, as of now. But the most important thing in the interview is how you present yourself. So, but when you go into that, when you go in front of that interview panel, there's this whole 6 members sitting in front of you, and you just have to be yourself at first in there. So I stuttered a bit, but they were very cordial and they made me very comfortable by just asking the questions that were making me comfortable, because I had done my homework about my insurance sector, which helped me in the further course of my interview.
Right, right. I can totally relate to this experience, guys. Just as earlier I also shared with you, just go through the biodata first. As Anuj was working in LIC, so this insurance thing was very basic. No, if any other interview is
Yeah.
also there, he or she must ask questions about this insurance sector and all. So just go through your biodata first. Just do your homework and know your biodata. Know RBI. You have to know some basic things, about the employer that you are willing to join. So as Anuj said, just know basic things about RBI, its department, any other department, which you are willing to work in. And so Anuj, any other specific advice do you want to share with our aspirants?
So I would like to continue for the interview thing, because since since you are interviewing for RBI, so one has to clearly understand of the organization and the sector you are working in, and and the institution you are going to work for. You need to have a very clear understanding of this thing. So yes, we all had to do our homework regarding this, but कुछ भी थोड़ा सा रह जाता है at the end of the day वो cover करने के
Mhm.
लिए. So uh, so apart from that, I think you need to have a clear understanding, more specifically for the interview, about your career decisions, why you opted them, why you did a particular thing, and in आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा था वो चीज करते वक्त. So I think one has to have a clear perspective of why I did a particular thing, because in interview they can question you on anything, uh, on your more importantly career decisions. So you need to have a thorough understanding of who you are and why you did a particular thing. So after doing that, you'll be in better position to prepare more in a better way for the interview by understanding of yourself, of your institution you're working for, and obviously for the RBI as a whole.
Yeah, totally, very much true, Anuj. Guys, just know yourself, know your decisions, why you are doing what you are doing, and why you are going to join RBI or any other organization for that matter. And Anuj, last one question is that how many months or how much time does it take to prepare for RBI if somebody is starting from let us say from base level?
Okay, so I have been noticing this question a lot these days. So I think because as I mentioned earlier, it all comes down to an individual perspective, because everyone's aptitude levels, knowledge level is very different. So for one candidate, I have seen people clearing it, in the first attempt only this year, and some of them have mentioned that they did it in 5 or 6 months. I myself took 3 attempts for this. So it is very variable, if we look at it. So uh, वही बात आ जाती है कि you need to know yourself कि whether you are comfortable for giving this exam and how much time you can devote, how much energy you can devote for this. So it comes down to individual perspective, and one needs to understand the level at where they are right now to before divulging into the preparation. If this homework has been done, I think 20 or 30% of your preparation will streamline in a very good direction from there on.
Yeah, very much true. So any other thing, Anuj, do you like to mention or which I have not covered?
So this was pretty much everything, and thank you for having me.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Anuj, for sharing your perspectives and sharing strategy and all other advices. I hope that this talk will help the future aspirants in preparation of RBI Grade B 23 and onwards. So thank you again, Anuj. Thanks. Thank you very much for joining us on this show today.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.